Thanks so much for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Michelle Beck. Let's get to your headlines. Happening right now, Hamas saying it's looking over a proposal from Israel. It's for a ceasefire in Gaza that would release 10 hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The proposal outlines the 45-day truce during which the two sides would try to negotiate a permanent ceasefire. That's according to a Hamas official. The Israeli proposal also calls for the disarmament of Gaza. It does not guarantee a permanent end to the war, which Hamas has demanded in the agreement. A Hamas official said the group will not agree to any Israeli ceasefire proposal that calls for its disarmament or sees Israeli forces return to Gaza after initial withdrawal. The offer marks Israel's first proposal to bring back hostages from Gaza since it resumed the war in March. As the war on trade ramps up and President Trump signals he's looking to impose new tariffs on pharmaceuticals and semiconductors, the battle over his immigration policy of mass deportations is intensifying. Trump met with the president of El Salvador, a key ally and the leader of a country that's taking in the alleged Venezuelan gang members. Yesterday, he weighed in on the Maryland man swept up and deported by mistake. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest details.
Hi there. The Trump administration is digging in over the deportation of a Maryland man in a growing dispute with the federal courts that now reaches all the way to the Supreme Court. This morning, the standoff over a mistaken deportation intensifying after President Trump hosted the president of El Salvador, who claimed he could not return the man from a mega prison in his country.
How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a father of three with a work permit in Maryland, was deported to El Salvador through what the Justice Department called an administrative error. The Supreme Court has ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return.
That's the order. The order is bring him back.
But the Attorney General argues initiating Abrego Garcia's release is El Salvador's call.
This is international matters, foreign affairs. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
The White House now saying Abrego Garcia was not mistakenly deported, alleging he's part of the violent MS-13 gang, claims his family denies.
I'm still fighting for you.
He's never been criminally charged in the U.S. or El Salvador. President Trump saying he wants to deport more migrants here illegally to El Salvador prisons, and saying the Attorney General is looking into whether U.S. citizens with violent criminal convictions could be sent there too.
If it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now.
The president also weighing in on tariffs, saying a new round is coming on imported pharmaceuticals and semiconductor chips, which could drive up costs for computers and smartphones. Though asked about possible exemptions for Apple products, President Trump said he would be flexible. President Trump also hinted at a potential pause on the 25% tariffs on the auto industry to give companies time to adjust supply chains. Amid the uncertainty, more than 60% of top CEOs now say they expect a recession in the next 6 months. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Measles cases continue to rise in the U.S. According to the CDC, there are now over 700 confirmed cases in 24 states. This marks the highest number of cases recorded in 6 years and reflects an increase of more than 100 cases since last week. The worst of the outbreaks is in the South Plains region of Texas, where state health officials report 541 cases since late January. Most cases have been reported in those younger than 19. At least 2 children have died from measles, all related to causes this year. Measles is highly contagious, and health officials urge parents to make sure their kids are vaccinated. Children can get vaccinated as early as 1 year old. Intense new video this morning showing a massive fire in East St. Louis, Illinois early this morning. You can see flames reaching several stories into the sky and dozens of emergency crews on scene trying to put it out. The fire happening just over the river from St. Louis, Missouri. There was enough smoke you could see it through the iconic arch downtown. And there it is right there. This is a time lapse from this morning as the sun came up. There were at least 24 departments on scene for this fire, and crews had to truck and water to put out those flames. Incredibly, though, nobody was hurt. Now to a developing story out of South St. Paul. This morning, a 36-year-old man is behind bars after allegedly killing the man he was supposed to be taking care of. The victim's daughters tell our Jennifer Hoff they are shocked.
Neighbors will tell you.
It's a typical neighborhood.
Except for Friday night, parts of South St. Paul were anything but.
Instead, it was wall-to-wall police cars.
Police responding to this apartment complex when Jacob Audi called 911. Court documents saying he admitted to shooting his roommate, 72-year-old Michael Schilly, whose daughters are still in shock after finding out the next day.
It was Saturday morning. That's how I woke up.
Jessica Comer said her dad struggled with health problems. Audi, his caretaker for the last 2 years.
He said he went over the last week and he said there was no tension, there was no nothing, so it doesn't make sense.
Police say Audi shot Schilly with his own assault-style rifle. Those documents also showing he was found on a back bedroom couch with a television remote still in his hand and a gunshot wound to his face. Audi reportedly unloaded the magazine, even taking a round out of the chamber before turning himself in. Comer, though, can't figure out what happened, saying her dad was a veteran who loved his Harley and telling jokes.
We were always on the river every weekend on the boat, and that's just how we grew up. Unfortunately, we won't get to make any more of those memories.
A family now fractured.
Mike never bothered anybody.
And a quiet neighborhood left to hope something like this doesn't happen again.
No matter what it was, there's better ways to handle a situation.
Audi is facing a second-degree murder charge. The judge calling him a flight risk and setting bail at $1.5 million. Neither the court nor police are pointing to any possible motive. Schilly's daughters say that makes it all the more difficult. Happening right now, voters in Minnesota's Senate District 6 are heading to the polls for a special Republican primary. 8 GOP candidates are vying to replace former Senator Justin Eichorn, who resigned last month. The winner will face Democrat Denise Slipey in the April 29th special election. District 6 covers parts of Cass, Crow Wing, and Itasca counties. Polls are open till 8 p.m.
With the first pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Bueckers, University of Connecticut.
We knew it was coming, but now it is official. Hopkins native Paige Bueckers headed to Dallas as the #1 pick at the WNBA draft, something no other Minnesotan has ever been before. It's all happening in a crazy month since winning a national college championship. The former UConn guard will now head south to make appearances and start training camp in about 2 weeks. Bueckers will be under a new head coach and GM. Here's Bueckers shortly after getting her jersey for the Wings.
I'm just going up there, getting the jersey. Super surreal to be at this stage, to be here, to have a lot of my supporters here and people who've helped me get here. It just means everything to me.
For Paige, the best since Lindsay Whalen. It's fun. It's fun for the state. We just want each time that she plays that that she learns to hate the Lynx for once. Yeah.
Well, in a matter of hours, the city of Hopkins, Bueckers' hometown, is set to honor her in a unique way. At tonight's city council meeting, leaders are expected to adopt a proclamation that'll rename the city to Paige Bueckers, Minnesota, on May 16th. That'll be Paige's first game in the WNBA when her new team will host the Minnesota Lynx to kick off the season. And certainly a lot of excitement this morning about the future of the Lynx. They picked up 3 potential difference makers in the draft, starting at 15 with forward Anastasia Olari-Kosu from Russia. Then they took Washington forward Delia Daniels at 24. National champion Aubrey Griffin rounded out the Lynx draft haul at 37. Cheryl Reeve excited about the haul, especially their first pick.
She's playing on the best team in Russia and is a key part of that team. And I think she knows who she is right now. She doesn't play outside of herself. And just, again, wants to learn.
Hey, and this story is getting some traction this morning. Starbucks is clamping down on its dress code. Soon, baristas will need to wear a solid black shirt underneath their iconic green aprons. Until now, baristas were allowed to wear any color under the apron. Starbucks says this is an attempt to make the aprons stand out and create a sense of familiarity with customers. The new dress code takes effect May 12th. Stick with us, more news and weather is coming up after the break.